All right, so we are live. Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Duran. I'm the CTO and risk advisor at Rhino Cybersecurity, and I have Andrew Samerton here with me. Hello, Andrew. He's the CEO of Rhino Cybersecurity and BYR Technologies. How's it going, Andrew?
I'm good, Dan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, very well. Thanks. So today we have a show that is going to be a bit serious, right? Because this is important. And it's important because a lot of people, a lot of companies are getting hacked left, right, and center with ransomware attacks. And because of something called, and something that's pretty new since probably 2017, called
Yeah.
ransomware as a service,
Yeah.
right? RaaS. It's a bit different from all types of ransomware, and we want you to know about this. It's extremely important. So prepare to have your mind blown because
Well, I mean,
it's going to be an eye opener.
it is. I mean, I've been, so educated in regards to this. I mean, the reality of it is cybersecurity has advanced so much, and the threats that companies are under are increasingly day in, day out, and year, week after week, month after month, year after year. But now with this, ransomware as a service, it just amplifies the risk
Yes.
to a whole nother level. So it's a pretty serious show for sure, and I think it's really important for people to be aware of what's happening out there.
Yes, yes. So we're streaming live on Rhino Cybersecurity's YouTube channel, as well as Get Cyber, which is my personal, community channel where I stream all kinds of content and tutorials. If you would like us, visit our website rhino.io. That's Rhino with a Y.io. And subscribe. If you are listening to this podcast for the first time, make sure that you go into our channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and subscribe to our channels. We have a really good newsletter with all kinds of cybersecurity information, 5 articles per week on different topics, from the latest updates on Apple devices, critical updates that just happened on Wednesday, to Black Basta, the new ransomware attack or group that has been created in April, which already has hacked over 50 organizations for millions of dollars. So we have all this really good information. You can also go into a website. I sign up for the newsletter and at rhino.io. We see that we have a lot of people on the chat already. We have a lot of people saying hi and hellos and all of that. So thank you, Gladstone, for putting all that information on screen. So just send us a shout out if you see us from anywhere. So let's get right into it. This is going to blow your mind. Trust me, it is absolutely insane. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now. And this is a chat. Okay. And this is not just any ordinary chat. When you get ransomware, you get a little note telling you to go to this onion address, for example, and talk to them. And this is a ransomware customer service dialogue. Okay, so let me read it to you. It says, please send help for our files. And hello, this is whatever. Please introduce yourself, company name, your position, and we'll provide you all the necessary information. Sometimes our staff is very busy, but we'll reply as soon as possible. Doesn't it sound like a customer service call to you, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing out of the ordinary there. There's no question.
Yes, but let me continue reading. It says our network is the blah 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 blah. Is this where you get your files back? Please tell me what to do next. And the hacker says, well, what happened? The bad news is that we hacked your network and encrypted your servers, as well as downloaded more than 1 terabyte of your personal data, including financial contracts, databases, and other documents containing SSN addresses, DOB, and other information about the students and teachers. So this is apparently it is a university, right? If this data is published, you will be subject to a huge court and government fines. The good news is that we are all businessmen, right? These guys are businessmen. And we want to receive a ransom for everything that needs to be kept secret. And then they go on saying that it is $40 million. That's what they're asking for, right? So $40 million on ransom. And this is a big organization. The guy is like, I am speechless. Sure, this is a mistake. Are there extra zeros in that number by mistake? He's like, no, according to the records, your revenue is more than $4 billion. Okay, so it is possible for you to pay that amount. So then they continue going, right, on the chat. So I'm confused. This is a blah, 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 blah. You cannot possibly think we have anything close to this. And then the hacker asks, what is your position? What do you mean? And they go on and on and on. And then they go negotiate, right? So we're ready to negotiate. And if you pay $15 million in 24 hours, we will give you the decryption tool and delete all the leaked files from your server, from our servers. Otherwise, we will upload all 1.5 terabytes of leaked files on the blog and delete the decryption tool for your network in order to continue our work with other companies. What do you think about this, guys? Please, if you are in the chat, if you are watching us right now, put your comment down below on the chat and tell us, what do you think about this chat?
And it's so surreal, right? Because it's so as a matter of fact. It's almost like it's not an illegal action. It's just as a matter of fact action. That's what's so remarkable about it. Because it's a business. It's a business to the hackers. And then the person who's been hacked or held at ransom is basically being, again, held for ransom to say, oh, you can't afford 40 million? Okay, well, 15 million if you do it in 24 hours, or then 10 million, or then 5 million, then 2 million. But eventually they're going to get something, but they're acting like it's a business. Like it's just as, you know what? Give us the money and we'll take care of you.
Yes, exactly. So it's just call customer support and we are operating 24/7. If you have any questions about your ransomware that we just deploy on your company, just give us a shout, or else we will leak all your information on the dark web, right? So that's basically the sophistication, how these guys operate nowadays. Okay, and the reason why I wanted to put this, it's not just because of the shock value, but it's because I want to explain to you right now what this industry is all about. Right. So let's see if you have any comments in there. I see that Alex Leslie puts a comment in there. Maybe you can post that on the chat. He says, it's crazy how nonchalant these guys are. Absolutely. It is freaking amazing. Right. Like you see this stuff, it's like out of this world. Some surreal reality, right? So let me
I truly believe they don't necessarily think they're doing anything wrong. That's the sad reality of it. That's, I think they truly are operating as a business, not as an illegal entity. It's insane.
Yes, and all because of the Onion, right? So all because of the Tor browser and how it provides. Yep. 100% complete anonymity for everybody, right? So, anyways, that's another topic for another day. Let's get into the meat of this. So, this is just an extract from one of our presentations on ransomware and how to protect yourselves. All right. So these are 10 steps of how to protect yourself, which I'm going to be creating a video on it. And these are really good, practical advice that we can give you on how to protect yourself from ransomware. But out of this, let me just go into a couple of things. Let's talk about what is ransomware first. Okay. Yeah. So ransomware steals, obviously, people know they steal and block information, right? They steal they extract information, they exfiltrate, it's called exfiltrate data from companies, from networks, right? And then they block access to computers, servers through encryption, right? So they throw an encryption tool and encrypt all servers on all computers, as many as possible, right? And the funny thing about ransomware is it's a double extortion, so a double whammy, right? Because they not only encrypt your information, right, with the tools, but they also steal your data, and that is pretty bad, right? And so they can come back with demands on ransom, right? With usually in the form of cryptocurrency. I mean, 99.99% is going to be cryptocurrency, which is completely untraceable, right? And they will ask for money in exchange for two things: the data back and the decryption tool, right? So it is double extortion, double whammy. If they're not able to ransomware or encrypt your information, they are able to steal it and still get their demand and get the ransom back, right? So, what do you think about that, Andrew?
Yeah, it's again, it's. I think the biggest problem here is people always think, especially businesses, well, it's not going to happen to me, or I have nothing to stop it. The reality of it is these guys are acting, like I said, they're it's no longer as opportunistic. I mean, it is a big part of opportunistic, but it's so easy for people to be doing this, and you don't necessarily have to have the skill set anymore, as I know you're going to get into. It's remarkable, and how quickly. I mean, we're so accustomed to opening up our computers and accessing it and making sure that everything we've done is protected. And we have, we get up in the morning or at night or whatever that is, you turn your computer on, you have access, and you just keep moving as operations. But the reality of it is, in a blink of an eye, that can stop, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, what am I going to do? And exactly. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it started with the WannaCry. I don't know if you remember, Andrew, on 2017 WannaCry ransomware attack. Very well known screenshot on the locker. Then the Ryuk, CryptoLocker, Medusa Locker, Bad Rabbit, Revil, which also I think is 2018, and then Conti, which disbanded last year. And now the new one is the Black Bastard, right? Black Bastard that just came out on April of this year, and it's doing its
already crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the statistics, right? So 50% of SMBs have a cybersecurity plan, which means that 50% of SMBs do not have one. And when I mean SMBs is small and medium-sized businesses. And that is crazy. That companies that are medium-sized companies, $500 million, do not have a cybersecurity plan in place for this type of stuff, right? And ransomware is in 10% of all breaches, and it doubled in frequency in 2021. That is also pretty alarming news. And one of the most affected industries are the manufacturing industry, right? They're getting hacked left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Financial, right? Medical, and education. Those are the and of course, then we're talking about the government, right? Government institutions. The entire government of Costa Rica was ransomware this year, and they shut down the entire country because of it, right? There's a few cities in the States that have also been hacked with ransomware and shut down. We see a lot of utilities getting hacked, right? Like the Colonial Pipeline last year was hacked with a pretty big ransomware attack. Newfoundland, remember? I don't know if you remember the Newfoundland hospital get ransomware as well. And the latest, there's a few school boards here in town in Kitchener-Waterloo that have been just ransomware this week. So
and the sad the sad reality of that, and I'm not going to mention any names, but we as a company, we've reached out to a lot of those organizations, and the response is, oh, we're okay, we're protected, we have everything in place, and that's such a misconception, right? I mean, people need to be opening up their eyes to the possibilities, not the possibilities, the realities that it's going to happen, and they need to protect themselves.
Yeah, so there's two things that are happening, right? So the first one is the lack of protection from companies, and the second one is the easy how easy it is for hackers to start, like hacking you, and not just hackers, but anybody basically nowadays because of tools, right? So let me, since you're talking about that, Andrew, this is the latest report from the IBM Security on Cost of Data Breach Report 2021, right? Just came out this year. And I just want to pin a couple of numbers in here. So I went over the entire report, and I want you to look at this. The average number of days to identify and contain a data breach is 287, which means network, that the network. Most companies do not have a network intrusion detection system. Luckily, Rhino, cybersecurity, that's what we do. We have our managed detection and response, network intrusion detection system, 24/7 SOC, 24/7, 365. So when you're sleeping, your IT department and you guys are sleeping, we are awake at all times, including Christmas, New Year's, weekends. We're watching over the network, right?
And that's so important. But I think what's really important for everybody to understand is that 287 days, what that does, it allows a virus to pivot multiple times inside an organization until it's ready to take over. And so it's all about, identifying that risk as quickly as possible. And to your point, Dan, with our MDR, the Rhino Guard, I mean, we're identifying that within minutes and isolating it and protecting it within 20 minutes. And having the right tools and partnering with the right organization, whether it be Rhino or another organization like us, it is critical to the infrastructure of an organization to make sure that they have these things in place.
Yes, and this is especially true for manufacturers, right? So because the why I'm mentioning manufacturers, and not only manufacturers but also hospitals and school boards and universities, is because of COVID, everybody's moving to work remotely. But then you see companies that have assets and they cannot move remotely. They have to have their servers in-house. They have to have all their infrastructure in-house because it is the composition of their business. They need to have their warehouse. They need to have their factory, their machinery working at all times, right? Sometimes, a lot of times, this machinery is obsolete, right? Like the software is obsolete, so it's really hard to upgrade. It costs millions and millions of dollars to upgrade infrastructure. So how do you protect that, right? So that's why they're being hit so hard, right? Because these are in situ, on-premise servers that need to be protected, right? As opposed to working other industries. It's easier because you can work. Like software development, for example, you can always work outside remotely, right? Without having this a network, a physical network. So what happens is it is 287. So 200 days for identifying a breach inside of the network, and then 87 days to be able to counteract or mitigate or contain the breaches. So this is crazy. I was testing our tool, our MDR, yesterday extensively through different hacking tools, and it works like a charm. 20 minutes. I mean, we see the alerts right away, and then by the time we, do the threat hunting and stuff like that, we are able to contain all of this stuff. So it's pretty unbelievable, and people don't see that, right? So, and then look at this. What do you see here, Andrew? Tell us.
4.6 million average cost of ransomware breach. Well, I mean, you just think of a business owner, and you think that the average cost for a ransomware breach is $4.6 million. I mean, that's enough. It's a catastrophic number for most businesses. If you're not partnered with an organization, if you've been hacked with insurance, or you have a ransomware company that's going to help you mitigate that and bring that number down. But that's the average. So that's the number. So, I mean, in any organization, especially large organization, I mean, coming up with $4.6 million just to get back to normal, it could be, again, it's catastrophic. It could cost the business.
Yes.
And it's unbelievable.
Yes. And I'm putting here a line on the chat. So feel free to comment, everybody. If you have any questions, or if you have any comments about this catastrophic stuff that we're seeing, put it in the chat and we'll address it, right? So, okay, moving on. So let's talk about the kill chain. Okay, so this is the kind of the famous kill chain for ransomware, right? And let me explain it. I'm not going to take too long and explain it very briefly. There's 3 stages, right? The in, the through, and the out. Okay. In the in, this is what hackers try to do. Either abuse weak credentials. So if you don't have to do dual factor authentication, you could be on the hook for this, right? Or if you have, not really good policies when it comes to password strength and all of that, this could be you, right? So they abuse weak credentials through phishing, for example, and credential harvesting, landing pages and things like that, right? Phish employees. That's one of the major things that hackers do to ransomware companies. So through phishing. How do they phish? They send you to download, for example, an executable or a document with a macro, and then they infect the computer, your computer, with a Trojan, for example, and then that Trojan spreads around in the network, right?
Dan, can I just, while you're just stick on phishing for one second? I want to jump in there. I think it's really important. So one of the biggest things we do, and it's huge right now, is cybersecurity awareness training. And buy-in is critical, right? Organizations, that's the big thing. Buy-in is critical. Organizations will hire us or hire other organizations like us to do training for their organization. They're like, well, we're so busy though. Our team is so busy. We're so busy. We don't have time. But we're so busy. But we want to hire you. But we're so busy because they have to make money. They got to do their jobs. Well, the reality of it is, if they don't slow down and become cybersecurity aware and conscious, they're going to it's going to be a lot longer of a process and a lot more cost-effective process if they are hacked, if they do open up phishing email, etc. So it's really important. I understand businesses are busy, employees are busy, but you have to be able to allow time to be aware, to educate your employees so this doesn't happen, or at least, again, mitigating as much risk as possible, because education and understanding is not building fear. It's building a culture of understanding so you can mitigate any chance or potential chances that are going to come at you. And that's what this is all about.
Yes, and the other thing is that that's not the only thing that we do, right? We also do, because the next one that I'm going to talk about is this one, which is exploiting vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah.
So
hacking.
The hackers go into, they look at your public IP addresses for your company, your CIDRs, for example, blocks, and they start looking IP by IP, what's active, what ports you have open, what services you're running on those ports, and if they have any vulnerabilities. So they continually scan and probe networks all around the globe. And there's tools for this and databases where you can find vulnerable appliances like Shodan, for example. Very easy. Anybody can go in there and see what services you're running, on a network using an IP. So they look for these vulnerabilities, right? So if you don't have an IDS that is actually detecting this stuff, and if you don't do your homework prior to this, so if you don't do a vulnerability assessment or a penetration test on not just internally but externally as well, they can abuse and exploit vulnerabilities inside of your network, right? Absolutely. So what do we recommend at Rhino Cybersecurity? What's the first step? Rhino ARM. What is it, Andrew?
ARM, we assess, we remediate, and then we monitor, basically. So we make sure we assess the problem, we fix the problem, basically, or mitigate, and then basically, thank you, and then we manage the process.
Yeah. So Rhino ARM, it's designed that way. We have an entire process. So every time we address a customer that comes to us, we say Rhino ARM is our process. A is for assessing, so analyzing, doing the vulnerability assessments, doing the penetration test, making sure that you don't have vulnerabilities. The R is for remediation and mitigation as well, right? So we remediate, we help you fix those vulnerabilities, give you the support that you need for that kind of stuff. And then the M is for managing. So we manage your network intrusion detection systems, through our MDR service 24/7. We manage your security devices as well as software, your EDR, your endpoint detection and response, your SEG, the security email gateways, your firewalls, all of that stuff. So it is an entire cycle. You can't manage before addressing what you have, right? And also we do inventory count. We do a lot of things that are very helpful. I mean, you can't really manage what you don't know you have. That's the key. There's a lot of companies.
And you know what? This sounds like a wow factor but you know what, the nice thing about what we do, I mean, it's a customization process, because every company needs a different type of layer. So as Dan always alludes to, cybersecurity is an onion. But what we have to do is we have to isolate or identify basically what you are as far as, in the architecture of your cybersecurity landscape. Then we basically address that in stages. So it's not like a shell shock scenario where it's going to cost you tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to be protected. We can do it in stages that protects you ultimately to the end goal, right? And that's really, really important to understand. And we work really, really well and really closely with, if you have an IT team or an MSP, because not necessarily all IT guys or MSPs have the cybersecurity experience. Yes. So we leverage our skill set and our team's skill set, and we marry really, really nicely with companies who have that. And that's a big
Absolutely.
conception. A lot of companies think, oh, we have an IT team or we have an MSP, we're protected.
Yep.
It's absolutely not the case. So just
Yeah.
make sure you have those real conversations with your team to make sure that you are protected.
Yeah, and you know what? If you want a demo of our MDR, we can do it for free, right? Like at any time, just contact us, and we will do a demo for you, and you will see how amazing our stuff is. I don't want to, I don't want to blow sunshine, but I'm just saying that you will be flabbergasted how we can find vulnerabilities, and how we can detect IOCs, IOAs, or like indicators of compromise or attack within seconds inside of the network. When the hackers are traversing through the network, where they're doing like a privilege gain and stuff like that on the network, CNC, so control and command, Trojans, all of that stuff. All right, so let me go into, if you have any questions, guys, please feel free to or provide any comments.
And Dan, before you jump into that, I just want
to. Oh, I think he froze.
Reiterate that real quick. Yeah. I think it's really important.
Yeah, so you're freezing.
The reason we do,
Andrew.
Okay, am I back? Am I back?
Yes, you're back. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say, and I apologize for, I don't know, my network. I just want to reiterate what Dan was saying. Please feel free to reach out to us or any organization like that. Education is critical to your protection moving forward. We're happy to do a demo for free. The reason we do this podcast every Friday is to educate everybody. It's not something, we want to earn your business. We'd love to work with you. We want to protect you, of course. But if we can help bring more awareness to the organizations out there that aren't protected, then we're doing our job. And ideally, if we earn some business from that, wonderful. That's the end goal, of course. But ultimately, you need to be educated. So if you want to reach out to us or another organization like us, I'm sure they'd be happy to educate you and hopefully get you more protected.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, so let's get back on track. So after they abuse the stuff, right? They obtain credentials or install malware, right? That's basically what they do. And then in the through stage, they install persistence, right? So in persistence is basically long-term access on the network without being noticed. Once they establish that persistence inside of network, they are able to phone home or phone to the mothership, so the big botnet, and able to stay in there for a prolonged period of time doing their thing, right? Once they do that, then they can move laterally through pivoting from place to place, into servers, into your domain controller, right? That's the key for them. They want to get into your domain controller so they can deploy all the ransomware throughout your organization. So you have to take care of your critical infrastructure, your servers, and your domain controller, right? And escalate privileges. And then once they do that, they exfiltrate the data. So they take all the data out of your company, and they destroy all backups and shadow copies that you might have inside of your servers. And then the last step is they encrypt all the data, right? So those are kind of like the 3 steps at the very end. And this is the kill chain. And it's the same across the board for all types of ransomware, from Conti to Ryuk to Revol to Black Basta. It is fairly, this is the general process that they follow on the kill chain. All right, so we don't have any comments. We have Layla saying, "Oh my God," and hi guys. But let's continue on. Right. So these are the major groups: Onyx, Mindware, Black Basta, Sodi no Kibi. That's a hard name to
say that 3 times.
Sodi no Kibi, Sodi no Kibi. Also known as Revol, right? In the content which was disbanded. And let me just give you. This is let me see here, the market share. So this is the market share for the ransomware, right? So Revol, it's first place with 26.7% of all the ransomware. It's funny how I'm talking about the market share because this is an industry, right? So 26.7 market share. Then you have Ryuk, then you have Phobos, Dharma, Mamba, and then so on. Medusa Locker at 2.2% of the market. And because it's an industry, then there is the chain and ranking, right? So how they go up and down in the ranking in terms of the ransomware groups that are the most successful in the world.
Hey,
How
Dan,
bad is
it's in regards to this and the ranking and everything else. Diego posted a good question actually, and you know what? It's a valid question. Do all types of cyber attacks end in ransomware?
No, they don't. They're not the same. I mean, you have different things, right? But
Exactly.
I think what's happening, you have data exfiltration, for example, and sometimes it's not for, they don't want money. What they just want to do is destroy the company, right? So shut down all their systems, or so the main driver might not be money. It could be, like hacktivists, right? Trying to destroy companies, and even it could be competition. It could be an ATP, so an advanced persistent threat, which is a government trying to get into companies here in North America, for example, to steal IP, to steal intellectual property from the company and extract that, so the trade secrets, so they can use their trade secrets in their own thing. So there's different levels of hacking. The other one is stealing PII, so personal identifiable information, PHI, so like protected health information, so they can sell it in the dark web. Like $10 a pop, for example, for a social insurance number and your health card information, right? So it's not necessarily ransomware, but ransomware, it's kind of like it's been doubling every year, pretty much, right? So it is becoming increasingly important and more popular nowadays because
and now as a service, ransomware as a service.
Because it's a service, which I'm going to show you. That's
exactly
part of my presentation, right? So
yeah.
All right. So really, really good question. Is there any other questions in there?
Adrian had, Catherine has one. Are you providing full range of managed IT services? You know what, Catherine, it's a great question. We really don't. We have the skill set in our organization from every aspect. So we help a lot of our clients, and we help a lot of our IT partners through it because of our vast knowledge of IT and cybersecurity. But we really try to specialize in the cybersecurity space. Yeah. So we do, we do a lot of ransom penetration and penetration, post patching, vulnerability. Services, so, MDR. Go ahead, Dad, if you want to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So to answer your question, no, we don't do MSP. We're not an MSP. We're not a managed service provider, right? We're not an MSSP either, a managed security service provider. We are, our main thing is assessment. So we do assessments, penetration tests, vulnerability assessments, MDR, managed detection and response, through our 24/7 SOC, and we do cybersecurity awareness training. We do data warehousing and secure hosting. So those are the things that we do. But we're not MSPs. We're not IT people. We're security people. We help IT departments. Exactly. We help MSPs being able to secure their clients. Right. Exactly. So that's our main business. And if we go a little more niche, a little more specialized, we are definitely network security experts. That's what we do. Network security expert, network intrusion detection systems, knowing what's going on inside of the network. So we're not an EDR either or an antivirus. We work with those tools as part of this defense in depth or onion security, or layer security, sorry. But we focus on the network. That's kind of where our niche is.
And you know what, to that point, I think it's what's really important. The reason we're staying in that space is because there are so many tools out there, automated tools, and other organizations, very, very large, successful organizations that offer endpoint detection, firewalls, all the things that basically help protect your business from outside risks coming in. But not a lot of tools out there right now that are really protecting the infrastructure, your actual network. So that's where our focus is, and we really want to help businesses and these other tools strengthen the security architecture of these businesses and making sure they're protected 24/7, like Dan said, through our SOC as well as our MDR. So it's really, really important. And you need all the services to really ultimately be protected. So they work nicely together.
Yes. Okay. So we have a question from Gladstone from other means here. He says, if a company pays a ransom, what guarantee do they have that the hackers will actually delete the data they stole?
The criminals. There's no guarantee. That's the
You're
problem.
dealing with a criminal, man. So,
or if they give it back to you, doesn't mean they don't have a copy of it, right? I mean,
and this kind of creates a little bit of a can of worms, because FBI, the CIA, seizes like if we're talking about the Canadian, what do you call it, RCMP, for example, and authorities, they always tell you not to pay ransoms. But let's suppose I have a company, I have operations 24/7, I have a factory, I'm in the manufacturing sector, and then all of a sudden, all my machines, my servers, my critical servers are encrypted. I can't get into them. I don't have backups because they've been taken away and deleted and stolen, old shadow copies. I don't have access to that information. Now my company is going to suffer for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks with nobody working. I have to send all 500 employees home. What am I supposed to do? I'm not going to pay the ransom. And if I don't pay the ransom, my company goes bankrupt. Like there's no question about it. So what do? I have to negotiate a ransom. I have to get my stuff back, right? And if I get my stuff back and I'm able to get everything running, I'm going to have to really quickly get up to speed into security in my network, or else they're going to come back and they're going to hack me again.
And that's critical, right? That's exactly right.
Yes. And then the other thing is, you never know that your information is going to be leaked out into the world. It's kind of like a hit and miss. I can't tell you that the hackers and these bad guys are going to have some sort of code of ethics.
Exactly. I was going to say, by the way, we're gonna hold your ransom. We're going to shut you down. We're going to put you at risk. We're going to tell you, by the way, it's 20 million, then 10 million, 5 million. Oh, by the way, if you give me 2 million today, I'll give you everything back.
Yeah.
But
you're probably it's a losing game, right? Whatever way you look at it, it's a losing game. So let's go back to this, and let me show you. This is pretty cool. All right. So in the left hand side, this is the way ransomware used to work, and this is from Trend Micro. By the way, they have a great tool at Trend Micro Central, Apex Central, amazing tool. We've been testing it for quite a while, and we have some clients on it, and it's a great tool. By the way, this is from Trend Micro. So on the left hand side, we see how they used to work. So you have your spam, your botnet, your ransomware, your bulletproof hosting, and all of that stuff. And then you had the peddlers, and the peddlers were basically the ransom operators attacking victims. This is the old school of doing things, right? So the other thing is, I want you to pay attention to each one of these computers. All of those is a service in itself.
Yep.
So we see here, there's a hosting provider, right? So you have to have hosting for your botnets, right? Then you have the ransomware maker, the one that creates the tool to be able to. These guys might know each other. They might not even know each other, by the way, right? But these are all businesses in themselves. Then you have the botnet manager, which controls a whole large of a botnet with a whole bunch of zombies, right? And then you have the spammer, which is the people that do the social engineering and the phishing attacks and all of that. Different expertise on each of these companies. So it's a conglomerate, right? So it's part of the industry. And then you have the peddlers who are putting everything together and then into the ransomware operators and then attacking victims. Now, introducing ransomware as a service.
Yeah.
Now you have the operator working as a subscription-based operator.
It's like a business.
Yeah.
Selling franchises.
And he's hiring ransomware affiliates. So you have affiliates. The affiliate is just like a normal affiliate. You subscribe to this service, you pay a monthly fee, and then you get all the tools so you can ransomware people and then siphon through the money to the brokers, right? To the lenders, to the money.
A lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. A lot of times, the ones who are on the third party they're not even necessarily that technical, and they're sharing whatever ransom they get with their end provider. It's like it's almost like a commission. By the way, you give me the information for X number of dollars, and I get $100,000. I'll give you $20,000. I'll keep $80,000.
Yes,
like it's absolutely unbelievable.
And I'll show you how easy it is in a second because I have that too. All right, so we're gonna put another question online. It says, how is it that they know the names of these cyber attack
Great
tools,
question.
but they do not know the authors behind these illegal weapons? Yes,
question.
because thanks to Tor networks, in browsers and all of that, they all are incognito, right? They're all anonymous, right?
It's a moving target.
Once in a while, they get caught. They get caught, right? So when hackers, like they rattle on other hackers and they have some beef between each other because I'm attacking this company. Why are you attacking the same company? Like they quarrel. By the way, hackers quarrel and they get caught, and then they start siphoning information about them, and then they can go to jail. There's many cases of ransom or hackers that have gone to jail, right?
Of course.
In different parts of the world, right? So, but most of the time, it is 100% anonymous, right?
Yeah,
so,
and Adrian, like any criminal, right? At the end of the day, the better the criminal, basically, or the more incognito they are, the more they can move around, the more it's harder to catch them, right? It's not that they're invincible; yes. It's just it makes them harder sometimes. But again, they can be caught.
All right, exactly. So now let me show you. I'm going to share my other screen with you. Okay, so let's go into the deep end, man. Let's go into the heart of the stuff. Okay. This is my Tor browser. Okay, so this is my Tor browser. And this is one of the tools that just came out. It's called the Redeemer, right? So everybody, it's like just like any other tool, right? Like using Photoshop. Like if you know how to use Photoshop, you'll be able to use this tool, right? And here it is, right? The new version 2.0 has come out, and it includes the Redeemer ransomware, right? New affiliate toolkit with GUI, right? New decryptor for GUI, no dependencies needed. Modify ransom message if you want to modify your ransom message to say whatever you want, right? Added option for using XMPP chat toolbox, right? To chat with your customers, basically, right? Your victim customers. Fixed some ransomware for Windows 11, right? Prevented damaging Windows in some cases. And then a whole lot of small fixes. So this is their software, right? This is one of the many softwares that are coming out. The changelog, how to download. People are saying, yeah, thanks, great work. Keep it up, blah, blah, all of that stuff, right? So this is from the dark web. I mean, this is not available for normal people like you and me. This is available in the Onion, on the Onion network, right? So dark web. So this is all dark web. If I go to the next one, hey, affiliates, these are the instructions on how to use our encryption tools, right? So how do you build your ransom? And then they post all the instructions. Part 1, download and verify the hashes. Start affiliate toolkit. Use the option to generate your public build key. Press OK and wait. And then it goes on and on and on. And then here, infection process. Disable any antivirus if you're not using a cryptor. Start to build the Redeemer executable. So these are, this goes on and on in terms of how to use it step by step. And not only that, but they also have videos on it, like tutorials. I'm not talking about YouTube videos. I'm talking about dark web videos where you can actually watch how to work on the tools. And there's somebody talking about how you can install and how you can create. And look at this, communicating with the victim. Like you have to have good communication skills, right, Andrew?
Crazy.
Communicating with the victim. The four-step key decryption process, right? So, and it goes on and on. This is kind of like the README for ransomware, how to ransomware using the affiliate program from this tool. And then if I go here, right, this is the support, right? This is the support forum. So you can post all kinds of questions in here and ask. See, somebody asks a question here, He's like, oh yeah, just try using mass scan to scan the ranges with ports that you need TCP or UDP. If you have a fast internet, you can use this. You can do that. Like this is actually help for affiliates that are using the ransomware tools from the experts, right? So it is an entire industry working on this.
And all this does is it amplifies the opportunity or the chances of somebody being held ransom. Because let's say, I'm using these very, very crude joke numbers, but let's say there was 10 people out there who were hacking in the past, probably 10,000 or 10 million, whatever, but say 10. All of a sudden now they have a network of 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 people underneath them, kind of like a pyramid scenario. Just imagine the magnitude of opportunities that are out there potentially for you now as a customer to be hacked. And Sonia had a great question here. Is there anything you can do to get, is there anything you can do if you get hacked? Is there any way to recover your information? And you know what, it really comes back to full circle, education and putting the right measures in place to mitigate your chances of getting hacked.
Yes.
There's never a foolproof. There's no 100% foolproof. You could have every single system in your network. You could have a cybersecurity awareness training and something could still happen, right? The Titanic would never sink. Well, guess what? It did. But the reality of it is you have to mitigate any and all chances. And then is there a way of getting recovery your stolen information? Again, you're dealing with, back to what Dan was saying earlier, you're dealing with a criminal. So if you happen to be held ransom, if your information is stolen or encrypted, there's a very good chance, even if you get it back, you will never know if someone else still has all that information, right? So it's all about education and mitigating that risk. Really, really important. Working with an organization like Rhino or any other organization that has the skill set and the ability to help protect and guide you to mitigate your chances of being that's critical to answer your question.
Yeah, and you know what? Don't take matters into your own hands. Use the experts. You can leverage on your experts. And by the way, I'm going to be making this. Actually, that's a really good question, because this is part of my my PowerPoint presentation that I have on how to secure your network from ransomware. And one of what she's asking right now, it's one of the points that I'm going to be talking about. Cybersecurity insurance is extremely important because they can actually negotiate with the hackers, and having a backup process that is that is isolated, and you have multiple backups. So if you lose your data and it's encrypted inside of your network, you can actually go to the cloud and download your backups and continue to run. Things like that are very, very important. However, do companies do it? Not very much. We see it over and over and over again. Guys, you have to protect your assets. Like, you have to, how many times do we go into a network, we do a pen test, we do a vulnerability assessment, and we see physical servers with default credentials?
Oh, I mean, probably almost every time, if not 9 out of 10 times. Anyways,
it is. Yeah. So you got to protect your systems. You have to have those backups. They have to be. You have to use encryption. You have to, make sure that your domain controller is completely isolated, and you have admin access to that, but nothing else can pivot from there into your domain controller using administrator privileges. Things like that are so important to protect. But I have the video for that, and we're going to be chatting about how to protect your system and your network from ransomware. And then we're going to talk about incident response and network intrusion detection. And you're going to see firsthand how fast our service is when it comes to incident response and being able to see hackers in the network within seconds, real-time stuff. All right, so continue on. Thank you for the question, Sonia. I really appreciate here. So he posts in here. So the expert says, "Oh, you can contact me here on Talks. Don't use email." Yeah, and then the threads go on and on and on. You can see 12 pages on, if not more, on the thread, on the support thread. So yeah, if you have any questions because you're an affiliate and you don't know, you're getting your feet wet into ransomware, contact me. You can contact me anytime. I can give you some really good tips on how to conduct ransomware. So these guys have an extremely good support system, right? So Yeah. What do you think about that, Andrew? Oh man.
It's again, it amplifies the industry we're in right now, tenfold, because people are looking at free ways to make money, easier ways to make money, trying to stay, and again, it's a false sense of an illegal act. I mean, if you have even a little bit of non-trustworthiness in you, and you want to try and make easy money, there's some tools out there that can help you, and it's not the right way. It's illegal. It's a criminal act, and it's becoming easier and easier for somebody to be held ransom. There's no question, or a company.
Yeah, and those in these forums, and not only in these forums, but also using Reddit and other forums out there that are publicly accessible, not just through the Tor network. These are the steps of the entire industry. There is actively, because they do hire salespeople, right? These groups, they do hire salespeople to go out there and recruit affiliates. So they go into the forums and they ask, they start posting stuff. Hey, join us. Like they want to recruit affiliates because they're getting the monthly payments. It's a recurring payment basis type of industry, right? So, join our Talks. For example, Talks is a virus compiler, which is fairly easy to use. And maybe I can show you Talks in here. So let me see. This is Talks, right? The ransomware maker, right? So you can create Talks viruses, right? So you enter your profile, your ransom, your nodes, and all of stuff, and just create the virus that you're going to implant into the computers. Right there you go. It's created already, the binaries for it, and then you can send it to the hackers and sorry, to the victims and all of that. So this is the Talks, right? So he says, you can reach me here or you can reach me on Talks. I'm available anytime, right? Basically, right? So this is how they do it. They recruit affiliates on forums, right? And then they get the affiliates to pay the operators to have access to the tools. Then the affiliates get access to the portal, right? So they enter the portal, and then they start learning how to work with the portal, just like working with Photoshop or Illustrator or any of those tools. The affiliates can configure the ransom, the package, the victim, the ransom demand, extortion nodes, all of that. And then the operator continues the dashboard to track the package, right? So there is a kind of like hand holding in there. Then the affiliates do the execution of the ransomware, right? And then the operator configures the payment portal, right? So the affiliates don't see the money. The money doesn't go to the affiliates. It goes straight to the operator portal. Just like PayPal, man. You go to Amazon, right? And you buy a product. You go through the you're not sending the money to the person selling the product. You send it to Amazon, and then Amazon pays the vendor, right? So it's the same thing. This is a portal where the victim will pay the operator, the portal, the owner of the portal, not the affiliate, and then the operator will give or cut the commission for everybody else. It will cut commission for the people that created the ransom tools, for the people that has the botnets, for the people that do the social engineering attacks, and for the affiliates. So they kind of they distribute the money, and then the operators gain the most of the money, or the ransomware groups, right, get most of the money, and then they do the laundering, right? So this is what happens after. Time to negotiate. They create a chat and a support system for a victim to go in and start chatting with the hackers. And there's two things that could happen. If they pay, then they deliver the decryption key. So the victim is happy, everybody's happy, and they can go on with their business. If they don't happy, not happy.
Exactly.
Right? And then the last part is, if they don't get the ransom, then the operator sets up the data leak website. So on the dark web, there's a lot of data leak forums and websites, a whole whack of them. And then there's two things that could happen. The first one is they can freely just give the information to everybody, and all the hackers go and let's do this, and they start getting the information to like all the sensitive information. Then the media gets a hold of it, and then they say, oh, it just happened with one of the games. I think I forget the name. Just happened a couple of days ago. They got leaked, right? Information got leaked. That's because probably they didn't pay the ransom, and then everybody knows in the entire world. It goes to CNN, and it goes to all the media channels, right? Or when they set up the data leak websites, they offer other low-level hackers and social engineering companies the ability to get that information, not for free. They paid the hackers to get that information. So I can give you the social insurance numbers, the health card information, all of that stuff. So that's basically how it works. And this is why there's no guarantee that your information is not going to be in the hands of other hackers, even if you pay the ransom, right? So that was a question from Gladstone. Yeah. So how can you protect your business? Very important. I have a whole presentation on how to protect your business. 10 steps that are you don't. And this is the thing, you don't see some of this stuff out there. This is Rhino Cybersecurity trying to help you on how to protect your business from ransomware. Some of the stuff is very obvious, like cybersecurity insurance, right, or cybersecurity awareness training and things like that. It's extremely important. But there's some information in here that you need to know, and I'm going to post a video in this weekend on YouTube, and then we're going to talk about how to protect your business from ransomware. Any other questions before we leave? We only have 4 minutes, and this has been incredible, guys. Amazing show. Let's see what we have in here. Okay, so Boris asks, there is great potential for those hiring this type of service to be employees and contractors of the target company. Oh, amen, brother. Absolutely. Absolutely. This happens quite a bit. If so, what can be done since some companies forget to protect internal equipment? Yeah. Least privileges, guys, least privileges, right? So when you have somebody working in the company, they have to have seniority, right? Like they have to be working for your company for a while. There's always a lot of disgruntled employees that will do this type of stuff. But if you have you should be, whoever joins the company should have limited access to data, to servers, to systems, and you need to create this chain of custody in your practices, right? Or else, if somebody coming into your company or should not have access to these servers, for example, but they still do, that puts you at risk, right? It doesn't matter if the employee, and then for the most part, we always try to look at the good side, people, right? Exactly. Trust people. We are trusting. Everybody is, but there are bad apples out there everywhere. It doesn't matter what industry, right? So you have to be careful with that type of stuff. And then the other one, when I'm talking about chain of custody, it's very important. We send and you can attest to this, Andrew. What happened a day ago when one of our prospects signed a document?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it was kind of funny because we got a random DocuSign that was sent to us from like 3-4 months earlier, and we hadn't heard from that customer forever. And they basically signed off thinking, okay, we just got this random project that we had no idea about. And in actual fact, he was just signing off on it to get rid of it from being in his inbox. And again, it was a process that should not have ever happened from both sides, right? So very easily to be manipulated, because if that sat in someone's inbox, you weren't aware of it, and all of a sudden he signed off on it 2 months later to get rid of it, but it was a false document. He could have just allowed access to credit card information, personal information, all kinds of different things that should never have happened.
Yeah, chain of custody, right? So before, if you have a controller, if you have people in accounts payable, right? You need to have this double check and balances, right? Don't allow just one person to make decisions in order to distribute money and pay checks and all of that stuff. You need to have another person to check that the process is good,
Absolutely.
and then both of them can apply the like the decision on payments and stuff like that. It's super important. There's a few companies, I'm not going to name them, but in 2019 there was a company here in Waterloo that got hacked for I think it's $2.8 million, right? And it was a vendor. It wasn't even a ransomware. It was the accounts payable that paid large sums of money to the hackers pretending to be a vendor, and they did not have this process of checking their payables, right? So, and usually the way it's done is through tiers of money, right? So if you're going to dispense, or if you're going to pay $100, you don't have to have a check and balance. It's $100, like nothing is going to happen to the money. But if it's $10,000, then you have to have a chain of approval for that. If it's $100,000, there's got to be approval, plus you have to do your homework to validate and to make sure that this is all accurate. Don't trust your email, because this usually happens all through email, right? As opposed to phone conversations and actual.
And there's always
meetings,
like an urgency to it, or we can't deliver this, we can't get. There's always underlining little triggers that you can identify. But again, we're all busy. Businesses are business. People are busy. So it's like, let's just get on with it. And by this time, you spent $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or more, and you've lost it all to a non-supplier. So.
All right. Absolutely. All right. So we're past our time. It's 1:01 right now. And thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go to Rhino Cybersecurity on YouTube, as well as Get Cyber, which is my public personal tutorial based channel. Subscribe, and if you're on LinkedIn, make sure you follow us. Follow Purple Talk, which is our cybersecurity newsletter. You can also go to our website, rhino.io, so rhino with a Y, .io, and sign up for the newsletter. We have a bi-monthly newsletter every 15 days. It gets distributed. Most of the stuff on the newsletter, which I really love, it's to do with cybersecurity awareness. Helping, or not just the IT managers and the IT people and the executives, but the entire employees, the entire company, helping them. Like we have, how to protect your home while you're on vacations, for example. We have things on how to just secure your modem at home when you're working remotely, right? There's one, I think it's called the SuoRat, which is a malware that is attacking home routers. So if you have an employee working from home remotely, they're getting hacked, man. So be careful. Make sure you sign up, and thank you so much for joining.
It's absolutely free, guys. So just please join, because it's just education. It's a lot of good information. Yeah. Thanks, Dan, so much. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody. And I'll see you next time, next Friday, 12 o'clock live.